Good morning, everybody. Just getting things started here on this Friday to talk about the First Alert Safety Desk stories we've done throughout the week, at least the major ones that we covered. You could see a few of them there on your screen. Let me know where you're watching from, what you plan to do today, if you're going to watch the Packers, or what your weekend plans are. Good morning. Okay, so I do have a lot to get to on this Friday, some big stories that we covered. I'll kind of go in order here from today and then go back. So the whooping cough story, you might have heard over the last 24 hours, a case in Green Bay, the Green Bay Area Public School District. I'm going to update that. And you can see some of the details there on your screen. That's something that we were covering this morning at the safety desk to give everybody a heads up, a little bit more in detail. There we go. So Green Bay Area Public School District confirming in an email to parents saying there's been a confirmed case of whooping cough or pertussis. So it was detected between August 27th through the 29th, and right away the symptoms, you should know, they resemble a common cold in a lot of cases. So health officials say the best way to prevent that is to get vaccinated, but we went through some of the details this morning on Action 2 News this morning, talking about this, some of the symptoms, some of the signs, and what parents need to know. It is very, very contagious. That's something you definitely should know. And we do have more details on WBAY.com under the Safety Desk tab. Something else I was talking about was it can develop into that violent, uncontrollable cough, and it can be pretty bad. Vomiting, exhaustion, things like that, but it does typically get worse at night, doctors say, and it will last longer than 2 weeks without treatment. Some people will need antibiotics for this, and it's spread in droplets of saliva, when you cough, sneeze, or even talk. Again, very, very contagious, actually very dangerous for kids who are under 1, and for pregnant women. If you have a immune system that isn't so great, it's compromised, definitely want to make sure you're protecting yourself from this. Again, very serious. So health officials say to check the Wisconsin Immunization Registry to make sure that you and your family, your kids are all up to date on that. Vaccination to protect yourself against whooping cough, very important. You could also get a fever. I didn't mention that one. So take a look if you need to see some more of those details at WBAY.com under the Safety Desk tab. Really important stuff there. Another story that I was talking about this week, and it caused a big stir, and actually Good Morning America was just talking about it, if not they're about to, on TV. But this story right here. Phones in the classroom was quite the debate. We've been talking a lot about this at the federal level. We've seen a lot of schools in Northeast Wisconsin that are starting to implement some changes when it comes to restrictions with cell phones. And those are the questions. Should kids have cell phones in the classroom? Should there be restrictions? What are the pros? What are the cons? So again, a lot of schools in our area definitely looking into that and talking to parents. I got a lot of back and forth. It really, a lot of parents are on either side or sometimes both sides. Some parents concerned about safety. If something happens, if there's an emergency, they want their child to be able to contact them. There is one school, Sheboygan Falls, just recently in our area anyway. They said that administrators say phones or earbuds will be prohibited in classrooms, during study hall, in the library, and in bathrooms. Students can leave their phones in their lockers or stash them in classroom caddies throughout the day. Some of the concerns, again, that parents have is that safety factor if they don't have quick access to their phones. But then the other concern is the distraction. We were talking this week about how the latest Pew Research Center report says 72% of high school teachers say cell phone distraction is a major problem in the classroom, and we know that. So this debate for parents, some of the concerns is something we were mentioning. What if there's that emergency? So definitely chime in on Facebook if you'd like. There is a link on WBAY.com. Let me know what you think. At the federal level, a lot of people are talking about this and some ways to mitigate that. One parent did tell me that she has her child's phone on lockdown except for being able to contact mom, dad, certain people, maybe caregivers, things like that. So look into that, WBAY.com/safety desk. couple other stories, and then we might check in with Steve Balon. I see you on the camera, Steve. Hi.
Hey.
Okay, so let's talk about internet safety for kids real quick here. So this is another story that we're covering that's just as important as the rest, if not super important to refresh yourself on, especially with the kids being back to school. So the FBI just released its latest safe online surfing program for the new school year. Just reminding everybody this week that you want to talk to your kids now that they're back to school. They're back on the tablets. They've always been on their phones, but more so on the internet because it is 2024. A lot of stuff is digital. So online safety experts say internet safety should be a part of the back to school conversation. And of course, it could be a little bit overwhelming with talking to kids about the darker side of the internet. We cover a lot of harder stories like sextortion and cyberbullying. So some of the tips to just talk to your child about, remind them to never post personal information online. Really important, things like passwords, home address, where they are, and remind them to never meet in person with anybody that they quote unquote have met on the internet, right? So let them know to tell an adult if someone asks to meet with them. Just as important, ask them to check with you before posting pictures of themselves or other people online. We talk a lot about that. And remind kids to never respond to mean or rude text messages or emails. That's that conversation about cyberbullying. The FBI also has that free program I mentioned, and we do have more information on our website. Really user-friendly. It's for 3rd through 8th grades. If it's something that you maybe want to hand over and have your child go through this, and they can learn a little bit more about what we just mentioned. Again, it's kid-friendly, user-friendly, and parents can work with their kids and talking about these safety settings and things to do during the school year when it comes to internet safety. So I think that covers it for me. There were lots of stories on WBAY.com/safety desk or under the safety desk tab. We mentioned the self-collection HPV tests for women just this morning, and that's also on our website. Going back to that here, just going through some of these stories. So no pap smears possible. You could do a self-collection, self-test for cervical cancer. That story was pretty interesting. We talked about the debate for cell phones. This alarming suicide rate among construction workers, very interesting, and talking about how to help our neighbors and friends and maybe family members who work in construction and dealing with that, and talking about mental health, very important there. But if you want to just go to our website and talk about that, I'm going to pop Steve up. I'm not sure if your mic is on or not, but you could probably...
You should be able to hear me.
Say hello if you want. Let me turn up my...
Can you hear me okay?
I can. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Long time no see. I mean, it's only been like 10 minutes.
I know.
Obviously in the studio.
Masters of multitasking here.
We're just juggling the whole thing, Aisha. You know how this goes.
So we got all those safety desk stories. Obviously a lot of people are wondering the weekend because we kept talking about those temperature drops. Mm-hmm. Some people have important things going on this weekend, but it's going to be a little chillier.
Some people have some important things going on. Aisha's laughing because she knows what I'm quietly acknowledging. Let's put it that way. She and her fiance have some important things to do, as do our viewers. But before we dive into that, let's just all dream. What would it be like if we could be in Brazil right now? Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be cool.
It would be cool because perhaps see a Packer game. So what we'll do is, Aisha, I'm going to go through some of our weather maps, and you just keep your microphone open, and we'll just kind of just casually talk about the forecast. So, are you watching the game tonight?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to the thing over at Lambeau Field? The watch party? Yeah. Are you doing that or no?
I have a watch party on my couch.
That same here. That's what I'll be doing as well.
Yeah.
But you know what? If people are going to the watch party, it should be nice. Temperatures will be in the 50s. You'll just want to make sure you have a jacket. For people actually at the game in Sao Paulo, it'll be in the low 60s this evening, and skies will be mostly cloudy. There's a small chance of a shower, but otherwise it's probably going to be dry. Right now we're in the 50s. Anago's our cool spot at 49. And Aisha, do you remember what I was saying this morning about why sometimes Anago is our cool spot?
I already forgot.
It's okay. There's higher elevation up there.
Right.
It's more hilly up there in Langley County. And so sometimes the temperatures get a little bit cooler up in that direction. But you know what? We're in the low and mid 50s, and we're not going to warm up as much as we did yesterday. Now, yesterday we called for a high of 75, and boom, that's what happened. And then we hit that 75, and all of a sudden it rained in Green Bay around lunchtime. Today, there is some rain in the forecast, just some spotty showers developing later this morning into the afternoon. But with a lack of sun and a north wind, it is going to be noticeably cooler. I mean, it's going to feel like fall today. High of 63, and some folks in the north won't even get back to the 60s. You see, we had a cold front come through. That's what gave us the showers and storms yesterday. In the wake of it, there's this north wind, and it's tapping into Canadian air, this fall-like air mass, which is blowing in as we wrap up our work week. So first alert, Pinpoint Predictor has a north wind today, gusts frequently around 20 miles an hour. And look at these high temperatures. 63 in the valley, 60 for a high in Manitowoc and Door County and across northern Wisconsin, only highs in the upper 50s. Now, Aisha, are you a fall weather fan?
I am, typically.
But I get the vibe that maybe you weren't quite wanting this quickly.
Well, you know, we have an outdoor event tomorrow. So
Yes, you do. That's right.
I don't remember how I normally feel when it's 63 degrees. I have to kind of feel it out today. Kind of see, okay, this is how I feel around 63 degrees. I can't remember.
But 63 and wind is different than 63 and no wind, kind of, for those outdoor
true.
things. So, yeah, I get the vibe you're saying there.
There's hope in sight.
There is hope in sight. You'll see the extended forecast in a second. Today, partly sunny. A lot of the clouds that are out there right now are lake enhanced as that cool north wind comes over Lake Superior, which is still relatively warm. And then it blows onshore. It blows those clouds into upper Michigan, into northeast Wisconsin. And as the atmosphere becomes a little bit more unstable with low pressure in the Great Lakes, we're probably going to see these pop-up instability showers. They'll be later this morning and into the afternoon. The rain will be light for the most part, on and off through the afternoon. And then it'll be ending this evening, except for you folks in Door County. Don't be surprised if the showers continue tonight, because that wind is still going to come across the bay. And it might keep those showers around a little bit longer tonight while inland areas are clearing out. Now, I've been first alerting you to this all throughout the morning, and I hinted at it earlier in the week. There's a chance of frost tonight. I know it's September 6th, but late tonight in the North Woods, we might get a little candy coating of some frost. The Weather Service has put out a frost advisory for Langlade, Forest, Florence counties, 2 a.m. to 8 a.m., so this is basically after midnight. In those areas, as our lows get down to the 30s, if you've got cold-sensitive plants, you may want to cover them up. If you can bring them inside, well, that's great, but sometimes that's just not possible. And Pinpoint Predictor shows, if you see that faint purple color there, yeah, generally around Lakewood, Mountain, and Northwest, some of the nooks and crannies in there just might get a little bit frosty heading into sunrise tomorrow. But it is going to warm back up. So this fall-like air isn't going to last forever. 65 tomorrow with a mix of sun and clouds, still a little bit breezy for Aisha's thing going on. And then Sunday, gosh, can you reschedule it for Sunday, Aisha? It's gonna be up to 75 and partly cloudy.
I know, I'm just shaking my head though. I just can't.
You can't control. You can't like order the weather, right? It is what it is. Now the other thing too is that as we go into the weekend. And, I talked about this yesterday and I talked about this morning. We got to watch out for water spouts. They're possible on Lake Michigan. Choppy, small craft advisory, 2 to 5 foot waves. Water spouts possible today, tonight, into Saturday morning. And this is the time of year. You can call this water spout season, because nearly 40% of all the water spouts that happen in the Great Lakes happened this month in September. And basically, here's the setup. We've got warm water. I mean, the sun has been beating down on this water for the past several months in the summertime heat. Water temperatures are near 70, but now we're blowing that cool autumn air over top of it. And you can see what it's doing in Manitowoc. It's producing those lake effect clouds there in the distance. And it's possible as the air converges over Lake Michigan, you might get some of these spin-up water spouts. Now, Aisha, you and the crew, we were talking off air. You guys were wondering, are water spouts as strong as tornadoes? And the answer to that is usually no. Usually tornadoes that are in thunderstorms, they're driven by what is called wind shear, the changing of wind direction by height or altitude up in the sky. Waterspouts, while there is some air wind converging near the water surface, it's more driven by the temperature difference between the water and the air above it. And so they tend to be weaker than traditional tornadoes. They tend to be more like the same strength as dust devils or gustnadoes. And so nonetheless, they still are hazardous to mariners. We just encourage anybody who sees waterspouts this weekend to keep your distance. Feel free to take a photo, just don't be anywhere near it, and send that photo to WBAY.com/photos, and perhaps it'll show up on the TV side of things. There's that first alert, super 7-day forecast. Look at those 80s next week. Now that I have a funny feeling you're probably more jiving with.
That looks great.
Now, see, that why couldn't we have those 80s for your thing this weekend?
It's just so, it's funny.
it is funny, isn't it?
Weather is funny.
I will give you one last thing before I wrap things up with weather.
Okay.
We've been talking about the Packers a lot, but I don't want people to think that we forgot about high school football tonight.
Yes.
Operation Football Game of the Week. Xavier at Fox Valley Lutheran. Clouds decreasing. The wind's still pretty brisk. It's going to be cool. We'll be falling through the 50s. Tammy Elliott had a great idea the other day on our live stream at 7:05. She was saying they should be selling hot chocolate at the concession stands.
Yeah.
And Emerson had chimed in that what was it, his school, Kewaskum, they were selling these big cookies about the size of your head.
A big cookie with some hot chocolate sounds good.
I'm down for any of that. The thing is, you would think a cookie the size of my head or your head, Aisha, it'd be hard to finish it. But trust me, I could polish it off. Somehow it would fit in my stomach. I could promise you that it could.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I have no doubt. I have a sweet tooth problem when it comes to chocolate chip cookies that have some salt sprinkled on the top or a little bit of caramel drizzled on it.
Yum. You had me at cookie. Thank you for just
we're here for the cookie.
Joining me in on this.
Yeah, it's always fun to chat with you guys and get a little lowdown on what's going on at the safety desk and sprinkle in a little bit of weather with your segment.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to just leave it there. Friday vibes.
Friday vibes.
Friday vibes. So we're going to go back to work and do a on-air update.
You mean this isn't work?
No, this is just hanging out.
This is the fun part of the job, right?
The fun part.
Just a casual conversation.
Yeah, so you guys can catch us on the air here at 8:25, 8:26.
About 5 minutes from now.
And then Action 2 News mid-morning at 9.
We'll see you. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.